Okay, I think we're live. Well, welcome everybody. This is Alicia McPeak here, and I want to welcome you to our Mommy and Me Community Wellness event. Now, this community wellness event is brought to you by the Healthy Living Revolution. And as I mentioned, I'm Alicia McPeak, and I'm going to be hosting today. So I guess, Alyssa, you can be my co-host today, yeah? Okay, Alyssa's my co-host today. Now, we're here in order to network with families and just kind of inspire healthy living. We want to meet families where they are, create a community of like-minded people, and just help inspire healthy changes along the way. Now, today, we are going to feature at the last minute, so just update, guys. We had people scheduled to do homeopathy, not once, not twice, but 3 times, and we had 3 cancellations. So at the very last minute, Esmerelda Salinas has agreed to talk to you guys. So what we're going to do today is we're going to have her talk a little bit about what she does and share a little bit about who she is, but we're going to have her come back and go more into depth because the topics that she's sharing on are just absolutely amazing. I'm super excited about them. So I can't wait for you guys to hear about it. So let me just tell you a little bit about who she is. There we go. So she's a modern feng shui and not typical feng shui. She did tell me lifestyle coach. She has work that's based on intention, creative awakening, and self-empowerment, which sounds incredibly interesting to me. She also encourages holistic and non-toxic living. And that's more about what we're going to focus on today, this time. And next time we have her back, we'll talk about the other things when we have time to actually prepare and get ready for everybody to show up and be here for her. So with that being said, Esmerelda, thank you so much. And let's just start talking with you about who you are and how you got here today. Like not that part, but you know, like how you got here as far as what your business, what's the name of your business actually, first of all?
It's Simply Refreshing Feng Shui.
Say that again.
Simply Refreshing Feng Shui.
Simply Refreshing. Okay. Is there a website?
There is. It's www.simplyrefreshingfengshui.com.
Okay. I'll put that in the chat here in just a minute, guys. So before we go further, let me just say also, if you're joining us live on Facebook or here on Instagram, make sure you say hi, because if you're on Facebook, guys, we don't know you're there unless you say hi. And if you don't say hi, we can't put your name in for the drawing today. So, okay, so Esmeralda, how did you get here today?
Well, it all started in Houston. I don't live in Houston anymore, but I'm originally from Houston. I was working in museums for about 10 years.
Well, it all started.
It's okay. And I kind of had an epiphany while I was in traffic on 59 going home. My sister asked me, when was the last time you were happy? And I started crying because I literally could not think of the last time that I was happy. And it sent me on this journey of kind of self-discovery. You know, I thought I was in the dream job. I thought I was with or doing what I wanted to do. You know, I went to school for it, have a master's degree in art history, which I'm kind of sort of still using and not. But, you know, that one question is what kind of did the whole thing. So I went on that journey, kind of dived into holistic living alternative therapies in that, and found feng shui along the way. And that's, you know, the quick snippet of like how I wound up being kind of doing what I'm doing now.
So I'm assuming you found your way to happiness in this process.
Yes, it did.
Tell us about that. Like what did it take? What were the changes that you made that you feel like got you to a happier place?
So one of the things that happened to me while I was at the museum was I didn't have the best of bosses. So I was constantly stressed, constantly overwhelmed, constantly overworked as well. I had no boundaries. And in that process, you know, I went to the doctor at one point and he told me, well, you have 2 options. Either you get on medication, which, you know, I already knew I didn't really want to be medicated in order to live and be happy, or I quit my job. And so I did for a little while I was on medication for a little while. And it didn't really, help as much. I knew it's not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to be on anxiety and depression medication for a long time. So I wound up quitting. I wound up quitting my job. I moved back home. As at the time, I was um, on my own, but when I made that move, I started working at a doggy daycare, and this is when all the light bulbs started kind of like going off. I know it's bizarre. So I started working at a doggy daycare, and my mom, who used to work in a library in a middle school, said, "Why don't you think about teaching?" And so I did. And so during that time I was working in the doggy daycare, I'm doing all of this searching, kind of like trying to figure out, why am I not happy? What is it that's actually going to make me happy? Because I thought I knew, for years I thought that I knew I was going to be a curator and I was going to do all these awesome things and do all these shows. And, it just wasn't for me, that kind of lifestyle. And so I wound up teaching. I taught high school English for 4 years. I wound up having to move. Now I live in Palacios. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that little town. It's about 2 hours away from Houston, and it's on the water. And I was able to get a teaching job, but then that fell through because they didn't like the city girl. I didn't get along with the people in my little group there. And so I was kind of forced. The universe kind of just kicked me in the ass and said, "You know what? I'm not going to renew your contract for you this year. You are going to have to do this on your own, and you're going to have to just do it and do the thing." And so I've been doing this full time now for it's over a year now. And I'm happy. Like, I've manifested my first home here, and it's paid for. My car's paid for. I've just been able to do so many things, and it's been awesome and amazing just taking that leap into the unknown, and living intentionally. And it's worked for me, and it's worked for several other people that I've worked with. So it's been an interesting ride. I'll just say that much. It's been interesting.
And there are so many conversations in there, from weren't you scared to how did you get over that to, what does living consciously mean with intention? How do you create? Like, there's so many conversations we could have there that I'd love to dig into. I'll let you pick your favorite one and tell us more about that.
The biggest thing is fear. We have this idea in our modern way of living that you have to have a plan. You have to have it all planned out, and you can't veer from that path, or else you're not going to make it. You're not going to be happy. You're not going to, just I don't know, it just runs the gamut of all of the reasons why you shouldn't do something. And then the biggest thing to think about, though, is like, well, what if it works? Like, what if it's fine? What if it turns out to be the best thing that ever happened to you? And really taking that step out into the unknown is probably the best thing that ever happened to me, other than quitting my job in the first place and working at a doggy daycare. And so I think overcoming that fear is probably the biggest thing that people have a problem with. That's their biggest issue, is what if. But what if it does? The counter question to that is, but what if it does? What if it does work out? And what if it's like the most amazing, most beautiful thing you've ever done?
So is that how you got over the fear? You just focused on the possibilities?
Yeah, infinite possibility, right? So,
I know a lot of people, infinite possibility, right?
Those steps, figuring it out along the way too. And it's okay to do that, right? Because if it's meant to be, and usually if you're having that pull in that direction, that just working for me, like something else, you have another dream or something, we usually, people talk us out of that. My dad was talking me out of that. And it's hard when you have people that you love and you respect, and that usually are the ones that give you that advice to tell you, no, you shouldn't do that. And I'm like, but everything in me is telling me that I should. And so it is hard to kind of say, I understand you and I hear you and I value your opinion, but this is the path I feel like I have to take. And sometimes you just have to put that boundary there and just do it anyway.
So a couple of things on that. One, I feel like that's when you feel like you're the most alive, is when you do step into, it's a little bit of an unknown, it's a little bit scary, but it's actually, you can feel that like you just come alive. And the rest of the time we're just kind of, if we don't do that, we're just kind of treading water and just kind of walking asleep through life. And that's when people end up, turning to addictions and different things like that, because they're not doing anything that's making them feel truly alive. They're not stepping into their path of what they're supposed to be doing with their life, the direction they're supposed to be going. And as I said, there is so much more that we could talk about this, but I know a lot of people right now are afraid. There's a lot of things to be, that people could theoretically be afraid about right now. So what would be a piece of information or advice that you would give people right now to say, to actually just to switch? Because everybody's heard, everybody knows, I think knows, but knowing here and knowing here are two different things. And sometimes it takes tools to get us there. Everybody knows that we create our life, right? So if we're creating our life consciously, and how do we not let the exterior world influence? What tools can we use to shift what's going on around us to actually consciously create? And I could go, Esmeralda, I think you and I could talk really deep about this, because if people, my big thing that I want to share with people is that if we all got together and shifted the way that we think, we could shift the whole environment of the world. So would you like to share a little more on that?
Great minds, like really, yes.
That's right.
Right now, I know it is scary. A lot of people are out of work, furloughed. Hours have been cut. Some people have just lost their jobs entirely and are maybe even living paycheck to paycheck at this point. But it's also a time to really dig in and take it as an opportunity, right? Look at it as an opportunity to figure out what it is that is important to us, like right now, right? So there's lots of opportunity. We're finding that there's so much stuff that we can do online. So many things that we can do online, and everybody has so many different talents and so many gifts to bring into the world that really, I mean, I don't want to say that jobs are like obsolete, because of course we have to have jobs, but there's so much that you can do and share online that a lot of people I've seen are starting to finally, go from the hobby that they were doing kind of on the side and starting to create an actual business out of it, right? And starting to move into these other, because there's still people that are working. There's still a lot of, and I was surprised too. I was thinking, oh my gosh, like nobody's going to want, a consultation. Nobody's going to want to join my, I had a program that just ended a while ago called Finding Joy. And I was like, oh, nobody's going to want to join this. Nobody's going to want to join my membership when it launches. But it filled. There's still people asking about consultation. I mean, so there's an infinite amount of abundance, like in this world. It's infinite. And when you are in that mindset of the negative and you're kind of living in this lower area, this lower vibration, when you're living in fear and you're living in doubt, that is it's so hard to get out of that mindset. It's hard. But starting with gratitude journaling and saying what you are grateful, because there's a lot to be grateful for now. I have more time with my family, or I have more time to be creative, or I have more time. Right now it's like there's an abundance of time for some of us, not for all of us, but there's a lot that we can still do, right?
Right.
There, and you can create those opportunities to happen. And if you're living in that gratitude, that level of gratitude, and not so much in the fear, then the universe is going to open those doors, and those opportunities are behind you.
Right.
And that's really what you have to understand about manifesting as well, is that unless you're at that level of gratitude and love and living from those two places, it's going to be hard. Life is just hard when you're living in that fear mindset, and that where, you know, you're scared to kind of do things, or thinking that things are finite when really there's infinite possibility, and those doors will open. So gratitude and love and above.
Yeah, and it's not a secret anymore. So I agree with you, gratitude and love. I also, to start with, if people are really in a negative place and they're really having trouble shifting, I like to use the concept of just be the happiest you can be in this very moment, whatever that means. And that means you need to go like put on some music really loud, or dance, or go outside, or, you know, pet your puppy, or whatever. Your focus needs to be on being happy. And once you find the feeling of happiness, which gratitude can also get you there, right? But once you find that feeling of happiness, you can tap into that, and you can create more to be happy about. You're going to create more to be happy about. But if you're living in this place of fear and lack and everything that comes with all that, all you're going to find is more of that. And I agree. I did a post recently about the fact that there's actually so many things happening right now. And if we focus on that are positive, and people are, you know, people are planting gardens. We're going to talk about gardening next week. People are getting to spend more time with people they love, and they're finding out they like it. You know what? They took us out of the matrix to some degree, and we're finding out, hey, this is a better life maybe over here, and get to the possibility of creating something new is exactly what you talked about from the beginning. You stepped out and created a whole new life. This can be that possibility for anybody who wants that for themselves. So with that being said, we're talking about higher vibration. So let's move into from a vibrational perspective, non-toxic living.
So chemicals, right, just inundate us on a daily. And right now, people are wanting to make sure that their homes are clean in that. And granted, if you're having a party or something, sure, maybe you'd want to Lysol everything down. I don't know. I don't even know if you can find Lysol on a counter anyway. But I personally, I make my own cleaner. I use water, and I use filtered water. I don't use tap water, with vinegar, right? So I use a 50-50 water and vinegar solution or mixture. And then I usually will drop in some lemon essential oils into that. And that one is a pretty easy essential oil to find. You can even find it like a pretty decent grade, like at TJ Maxx or something, like in their little holistic living kind of section that they have. And you can find them even starting like in Whole Foods. You can find them in a bunch of different stores now. So essential oils, you don't necessarily have to go with doTERRA and Young Living if you don't know somebody. There is another one that online that I like, actually is, I think it's Rocky Mountain Oils. And they're on par with doTERRA and Young Living, and they're not as expensive, but it's because of they have a different model that they use for I don't know, it's getting into something else with their model that they use. But I do like that if you have to, you know, buy online or whatever, Rocky Mountain Oils is a good one to use. So I usually will do like 1 drop per ounce of lemon and or orange. And those two are generally thought of as being high vibe anyway, and can, you know, they're already in a lot of cleaning products, right? So you see lemon scented, blah, blah, blah. It's lemon scent, but lemon actually can clean, and it has some antibacterial properties in that to it as well. So when you use the essential oil in there and you're infusing your water and vinegar mixture, it's going to clean also pretty well. If you're into the woo-woo, then you can also drop in like a little piece of quartz crystal to kind of amplify it with some high energy or high energetic frequency there. And you can actually, You can infuse it with herbs, which is what I like to do. A lot of times I'll put rosemary, have a rosemary plant that I use. I'll pick some and I'll throw that in there. Pine is pretty good. Wait a minute, going back to rosemary. So rosemary actually is antibacterial, antifungal, it's an antiseptic, and it has antiviral properties. So rosemary oil can also act as a natural insecticide too. So if you put rosemary oil into your cleaning solution, that's also something that can be pretty easy to get. It's not like your normal lavender and orange and vetiver or whatever that you would normally get. Rosemary is not like the top 10 that usually make it. None of the ones that I'm going to say are, but they're available, right? So pine is good for lifting your mood and for increasing focus. It also can kill odors. It purifies the air. It can also get rid of bacteria and fungi and other pathogens. So pine's a good one that you can also put into your vinegar and water mix. And then basil, which is also a strong antibacterial and antifungal as well. And it can destroy bacteria that can cause some bad odors. So you can also drop some basil essential oils into your cleaning mixture as well. And what I like to do is—
Can you use the actual—
Mm-hmm.
Can you just put, like, take leaves of the actual plants though too and put them in there?
You could, in fact, if you were mopping, you could put all of that and boil that water and then add it to your mop water. So you could strain out the and all that, and then you can add that into your into your mop water, and then you can even, use that with the floors. You could do, wiping your doors down too. That's kind of like a high vibe kind of practice that I like to do too. And you can do that with salt water or Himalayan salt. Just put like a small handful or so into a bowl of water.
That actually clears like energy, right? Like some negative. I'm sorry, you have something to clear gnats? Because I have a gnat right here. But doesn't that clear like negative vibes, negative energy?
What I like to recommend when people are decluttering and they're cleaning and they're feeling stuck and stagnant, it's especially good whenever you're feeling stuck and stagnant, because the air and there's like literal energy and dust and things that'll accumulate in corners that we don't use very often, and it just starts to sit. And so when you put those salt bowls, and I usually use ceramic or glass, I don't use plastic very much at all. If you put some Himalayan salt into a bowl and place them in corners underneath furniture and that doesn't get a lot of movement, there's not a lot of energy that's flowing through those places, it can release those negative ions, those feel good ions. So there's a little bit of science to it too. So it releases those negative ions, right? There's a reason why when we go to the beach, because the salt water, all of that, the negative ions, and that makes you feel good. Like it's calming, it's soothing, it's relaxing, it's uplifting when we go to the beach. So you put out these bowls of sea water, sea salts, or like a pink Himalayan salt, really good, in bowls out around. I like corners in those dark areas that don't get a lot of sunlight and don't get a lot of movement. And yes, that helps to, raise that energy and just kind of cleanses and clears without doing sage and that, because some people like to clear energy with sage. But if you have little children in that, sometimes that smell, it's not that it's bad for them, but the smell may not be great for some people. So doing that's a great way to clear.
Perfect. Okay, so do you have any, well, you know what? Do you have anything else that you want to, like, you're dying to say? Like, I didn't talk about this yet, or that?
I mean, not really, other than the fact that you can infuse, anything that you do with intention. So if you're making that bottle yourself, you're making a cleaner yourself, you can infuse that with an intention that, it clears out and cleans out anything that you don't want on your countertops or whatever. I mean, you can infuse almost anything with intention, right? You can infuse your home with anything. So even that little bottle, and even if you're going to the store and you're buying like an all natural cleaner from the store too, you can still infuse that with an intention and just, you know, almost make it into, I don't say like ritual, but make it into like a process where you're actually setting that intention for this cleaning that I'm doing is going to, you know, I don't know, you can include your family in that intention. You can include your pets in that intention. But yes, intention. I love intention.
I could talk to you about 2 hours on this stuff. I swear you've got really good topics here. Incredible. So I live in the Conroe like utility district, and I'm going to be really offensive here because the water is horrible. Like it smells like a swimming pool. There's so much chlorine in it, and I don't have a whole system on my house, and I like to take baths. So I set an intention. I put salt in there. Sometimes I put clay, but usually salt and an essential oil, one or the other. And I just say it's going to be fine. It's just fine. So I just set the intention that my water is going to be fine and nothing can affect me. So I do that with a lot of things. So it's a great topic too. Okay, so now you guys have heard from Esmerelda. Did you want to say something, Esmerelda?
Yes, I totally forgot. I have these like right in front of me. But EMFs is another pollution that we have. We're walking around in them all the time. My computer is emitting it right now. My phone sitting here is like emitting EMFs right now. If you're in apartment buildings in the cities, you have the towers all around you. You know, they're emitting these frequencies out, and they're harmful, right? A lot of us, even if you have compromised immune systems and things, can add even more to all the bad things. So these are cool little EMF blockers that I like. This particular one is from Organite Andy. I can give you the link to this. But there's several places that you can buy these, and you just put them close to your like I have them next to like every electronic that I have. I have it on my stove. I have one on my fridge. I have one on lamps, anywhere where there's outlets and that. And I literally have probably 30 or 40 of these in my house, and they're not too expensive. So it's just something else to keep in mind when you're trying to limit those toxins. It's not just the chemicals in that are in our mattresses and in the paints and in the carpets and that, but also in the air that we just happen to be walking through. So like this one's a really pretty one. So some of them can be artistic like this. Organite Andy kind of keeps them simple, but I like his actually probably the best. And then I love this is a new baby of mine that I just bought, and I just bought this other one too the other day. Plants all over. I don't really have plants in the house, but they can help to clear the air that, you know, as well. So you're breathing in good stuff whenever you have your plants.
That's right. Okay,
I'm sure some of you probably already have back there too.
Those are all good, great pieces of information. Great pieces of information. So I do want to add one thing about the EMFs, because from an intention and conscious point too, because there's so much going on that people can get so wrapped up in stories about things, and there's only so much we can do. We can do what we can do, but I really still believe in setting the intention, like that you're going to be fine, your family's going to be fine, everything's going to be fine, that you're not going to be affected. You got to set the intention and then raise your vibration, both in your physical environment and in your mental environment, so that you can create what you want. And we can definitely talk more about this. And so since you guys have heard from Esmerelda now, but I'd really like for you guys to just think about when we have her back again, probably next month, we can dig into more questions, and you can talk more about, this is what I want you to kind of wrap up with, your service, because I was looking at this on Facebook, Simply Refreshing Holistic Interiors and Home Staging.
They won't let me change it back to, but that's okay. I do home staging. I do mindful home staging as well, but
to attract more people to buying your house.
Yeah, well, you know, house buying is important, and you know, I've helped people buy homes and I've helped people sell homes. So it goes both ways, but it wasn't, you know, I wanted to get back to in their homes, but they won't let me change it. But yes, anyway, I'm sorry.
You'll have to tell us more about that next time you come back, about exactly what you do and how it works, and give us some good tips on that. But right now, I hope you guys got the tips that are get you started today. Now, if you're on Facebook, please say hello, because if you do not say hello, we don't know to add you to our drawing, and we are giving some things away. I also want to tell you guys that, first of all, thank you so much, Esmeralda. We try to keep these to about 30 minutes because a lot of you are mommies, and I know you've got to get to doing other things, right? So make sure that you guys are on the events page in order to get the recipes, the links, the discounts, and all the things that we have. Also, we need to be able to contact you if you win. So we need to be able to connect with you. So being on the Facebook events page is the easiest thing for us to connect. Just so we can go there and find you. So if we have to send something to you or connect with you to get you your prizes, then we can do that. So definitely always when you jump on, say hello when you're on so that we know you're there and we can enter you in the drawing. And I thought Kenna was going to do my drawing, but she's disappeared. So I'm going to have to set it up, and which is going to give you another chance to talk. So let me tell you what we're going to give away today. This was last minute, so we had to kind of figure some stuff out last minute here. So we're going to give away a book called The Made from Scratch Home, which is a recipe book for creating natural living products in your home that are common ingredients and not expensive things you can find around. And we're going to give away 2 sets of amber bottles. So 2 bottles in each set, amber spray bottles, so that you can have an amber bottle. Now, while I'm setting up the drawing, oh, and we're also going to give a starter kit of Juice Plus with complete gummies and bars away. So that's our third prize. So while I'm setting that up to spin the wheel, would you talk about why you want to use glass over plastic and things like that?
Well, a lot of times plastic still, I mean, the particles in plastic are, you know, it's not organic, right? If it's not organic, then I just don't like using them.
Actually, a petroleum product.
Yeah, and it can interfere, I guess, with the high vibe frequencies that I'm trying to kind of like put out into my space. So I just opt for glass or ceramics, like earth-based things or glass whenever I'm doing anything. So the plastics, it's just, you know, with the chemicals and that are involved in make, even though it'll say like BPA free and all this and that, like I don't know.
Yeah.
That might just.
But it could also break down, right? With the stuff you put in it, it can break down further too. Rosalind. So here we have on here. So Alyssa, Rosalind, Kenna, Nikki, Ashley, Miranda, Christy. So let me get all these names in here. Am I missing anybody? Have you not said hello? Nikki, I think this is your week to win something. Pretty sure. Sorry guys, I usually have somebody else doing this for me. So, Ashley, Miranda, Christy, Sina. Hey Sina, how are you? Madeline, Harper, I think. Oh, Misty. Hi, Misty. Misty Harper Pearson. Misty, make sure if you win, you reach out to me because I don't think we're friends. So that's another thing that can help is if you guys reach out to me. I'm going to share my screen now. Did I miss anybody? Alyssa, can you see anybody I missed by chance? And if you guys want to ask some questions while we're doing this, you can put them in the chat either on Facebook or on Zoom. Or you can just wait.
Anyone.
Okay, thank you. Or if you guys don't mind just waiting a minute, you can also ask questions as soon as we're done with doing the drawing. So can everybody see my screen? Okay, here we go. First spin.
Exciting.
Alyssa. Okay, Alyssa. Alyssa has won like 3 times. Something about Alyssa's name, huh? You must have a really high vibration and good intentions. Yeah?
Yeah.
Must be. Okay, cool. So Alyssa, ready? Here we go again. Rosalind. Yay, Rosalind. Now I happen to know that Rosalind's the reason you're here today, Esmeralda. We got connected through Rosalind, so that's exciting. And we got 2 more. 2 more, okay. Oh. Somebody didn't catch that. I didn't catch that. Madeline. Okay, Madeline, make sure you reach out to me too. I got to fix this. These two names are together. Okay. So that's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, one more drawing. Here we go. And Christy. Yay, Christy. Okay, so you guys, if you aren't friends with me already, please reach out to me so that we can definitely put your get you your prizes, and we'll announce exactly what they are on the group. So if you're not in the group, you're going to want to be in the group too. Plus, you want to be invited to our next event. So here's what's coming up next. Next week, we're going to be talking about gardening, and specifically tower gardening. I will tell you guys that now is the time to be growing your own food. We talk about a money savings. You can grow your own food. This is one of the best ways to save money. Plus, you have complete control over your own food. So definitely be here for that next week. And then the week after that, we have the Holistic Heritage Home Birth Midwives coming to talk. So thank you again so much for being our last minute guest